Hey,
Perci's Cocoy.
I'm Kokoy today. This is the Game Boy's pillow.
Are you in the
It's
doghouse,
huge.
Jen? Are you in the
I
doghouse?
Yeah, I'm in the cage.
Are
I
you
think
in
we just saw
Alfie's
Alexa.
house?
I think I saw Alexa in the background. I'm in cage, but out of jail.
There you go. Magic,
Hey, magic.
magic,
How you guys?
magic.
I'm very well,
Good,
thank you. I like this evening
good.
time slot. I'm going to watch the sun go down. I'm literally like in front of a window, right? I'm going to watch the sun go down in Hong Kong. So it'll be very nice as the show
Well, you can see the sun
unfolds.
go down in that window over there behind me. So
Oh,
if it suddenly
lovely.
gets dark, if I go from mood lighting, that
Yeah.
means the sun has gone
Well,
down.
light's coming up from there, so I'm not sure how dark it gets. But yeah, it's a new time for us, and it's strange. I mean, I love Saturdays when we're back on the show, and it's 11 o'clock. It's like a routine. But today is a bit different. I think different is good. I think for the past 2 years
Yeah,
with the pandemic and everything else, I think shake things a bit. That's quite nice.
yeah.
Yeah,
And hey,
not to hint, guys, because I've checked my post and nothing's around. It's my birthday tomorrow,
I know.
and
I was going to say that tomorrow.
and
that's
this
supposed to be the big
morning,
ending.
because we weren't
Yeah,
doing Dear
exactly
Future
right.
Grandkids, this morning, my sister said, book sometime, and it was a secret, and she gave me a spa coupon, so I'm all clean faced today because I've just
Oh, you
had a
you had
spa
the
morning.
spa already.
Yeah, I've had facial and
Ah.
everything this morning.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
had your me
Nice.
day. Me day.
Yes, that's right.
Hey, well, thank you to everybody who waited for the show to start. Kawai Donna is already here,
She
and
sang
Kawaii
along, Kai
Donna.
yeah,
Donna.
hello, and Paritosh
Hi.
Singhal.
Oh,
Hello,
Paratosh.
hello.
Hey, Paratosh.
Hey, Paritosh.
Hey, thanks for watching, and happy weekend, everybody. We're coming to you live, as always, from you on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm Percy in the Philippines. That's Ange in Hong Kong, newly freshened up, and that's Jen in Singapore, out of the dog cage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Most of the time in the dog cage. But that's another story for another day. More
Mhm.
importantly, welcome to our show called Dear Future Grandkids. Now, this is the show where we ask an interesting guest the big question. What would you say to your future grandkids?
And today we're building a video time capsule, as we always do. And we're also getting free world-class life coaching. Since our guest is an award-winning coach and motivational speaker, he's been featured on the BBC, on Sky News, on Forbes. He's spoken at some of the planet's biggest organizations, including Salesforce, Microsoft, and Google. His debut book, Energize, is available now for pre-order. And that's what our guest does. He energizes people to look at their world differently, to open their imaginations to what's possible, and to live a better story. So let's give a dear future grandkids welcome to Simon Alexander Ong. Yay!
Yay!
Simon!
Thank you so
Hello.
much, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm welcome and kind introduction, Ange.
Good to have you here. And what time is it for you? You're up early, right?
It's coming up 9:05 here in London, United Kingdom.
Okay, good
Oh.
morning.
Good morning there. So Simon,
Good
you
afternoon,
won
good
life
evening.
coach.
Yeah. Good day.
You won life. Good day. You won life coach of the year, Simon. Congratulations. Is there like
Thank you
a
so much.
coaching Olympics, and do the life coaches line up and compete against each other? Is that how you were
Yeah,
named?
how
Life
do you
coach?
win?
Did they hang a medal on you? And the
Yeah.
flag just went
You
up?
know, when I first came across it, Percy, I had in my imagination a visual of something like X Factor or The Voice, where you have to go through these rounds, you've got to coach people, and then they decide who coaches the best. But I think the way these work, like with a lot of awards, like the Forbes 30 under 30, is they sort of look at who gets nominated. So someone's got to nominate you, and then they look at your profile, they look at the work you've done, the testimonials, the people you've worked with, and they collate all that information together and they narrow it down to a shortlist, kind of like the Oscars. You kind of get a shortlist of maybe
Mhm.
6 to 8 names. And then on the day, this was hosted in a hotel in West London, a beautiful setting. Everyone was in glamorous dresses, tuxedos. And for each category, the host of the event would have someone renowned in the industry come up, and in their hands, they'll be holding a golden envelope. And then the build up, the drum beat would come up and everyone's like, "Ooh, who's in the envelope?" And suddenly it opens. And then that's when you know if you've won it or not. So you have absolutely no idea until the moment that envelope is open. So very much like the Oscars.
Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah.
I was going to say, Simon
Congratulations.
just described the top award shows, which is the Oscars and the Emmys, exactly what it was. Cool.
Yeah.
Not that I've been to any of them. Maybe one day, but not that I've been to the Oscars or Emmys before.
Soon, soon.
Hey, you're Olympics live coach. You're done. You're up there, right? Forget
up
about
there.
the rest.
Got the medal.
No point. Don't worry about the Academy Awards, Emmys. But Simon, we know that you're quite a new dad. But have you ever imagined yourself as a granddad?
It's not something that's come to my mind. To be fair, even before I became a dad, I remember speaking to my wife about whether we wanted to start a family, and we were always erring and umming between yes and no. We're sort of the people that before we had children were like, if we have some, great. If we don't, that's still fine. And then there was a funny moment. We were in a shopping center here in London, and there was this little Chinese girl that runs across out of a shop to my wife. And she kneels down and the little girl runs into her arms. And my wife looks up to me and said, "Yeah, we're going to have kids." So I think from that moment, it was kind of like, yeah, we're on the track to become parents. And now that we're parents, yeah, I think I can see myself now as a grandparent in time.
Nice. Well, let's take a look at you in the future, because we have
Future
the
Simon.
we have the power here at Dear Future Grandkids to look into the future, and that's you,
Yeah, that's
distinguished.
you.
I
You
look
know,
a little bit like
really fit,
Confucius
huh?
reincarnated.
You do look like Confucius.
Yeah,
I tell you what, even the earlier ones, the beard's working. It's working.
That one's not
Nice.
bad. If we just put some glasses on there, I think I could be a Dalai Lama lookalike. Well, hey, if the coaching doesn't work out,
Yeah.
You know,
There you
yeah.
go.
There
There
you
you go.
go.
No
Hollywood's
shame in that.
calling.
Now, Simon, let's get to know you better with some quick fire questions. Okay, you ready?
go for it.
All right. In 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
An eternal student.
Oh, nice.
Wow, nice.
Nice.
Now, of course, you network a lot as part of your work as well. You're used to meeting people, new people all the time. But when you introduce yourself as a life coach and motivational speaker, what's the most common reaction you get?
Well, I'll give you 2 answers first, because I used to introduce myself as I'm a life coach and motivational speaker.
Yeah.
And I probably got the same reaction as if I would introduce myself saying I'm an accountant. People are probably thinking, oh, my one day of the week that I'm networking, why did I have to end up speaking to another coach or this accountant? How do I finish this conversation so I can move on to the next person? But I quickly realized it's harsh, but it's true, I think, because this industry, that there's a lot of people doing this. And I quickly learned from Hollywood, actually, that the best way to introduce ourselves is not by using a title. That's how 99% people introduce themselves. It's actually to introduce yourself with a trailer. Because when you go to the movies, and if the trailer's done its job, you want to go, I want to come back to the cinema when it's released. Except in this case, the full film is you, your product, and your service. And so I started getting creative and dropping trailers. So when people ask me what I did, I led with story. And I sort of captured their imagination, that they then started saying to me, Simon, tell me more. How do you do that? And it taught me that the best marketing for what we do as a brand is the person in front of us selling to themselves.
Nice. I'm going to take note of that. Sell it as a trailer. Give them snippets of the full product, just snippets, right, to get them intrigued.
Yeah, you want to activate the visual cortex in their mind. So when someone says to you, how do you work? What we tend to do is we jump into logistics. Well, 5 days of the week I do this, and then when you become a client, you get that. People switch off after 5 seconds.
So what's been
So when people say, how do you do that? I simply say, let me tell you about Sarah. When she first came to me It was a very dark moment of her life. And now I lead with a story because then people are captured into that. And then they finish by saying, Simon, can you do to me what you did to Sarah?
Wow, that's a
There you
great tip.
go. There
Wow,
you
Tip
that's
go.
tip number one, viewers. Tip number
tip number
one.
one.
So
No.
you using that tip, I mean, I'm trying to imagine myself doing that. But of course, you've done this and you know the reactions that you're going to get. Has there been a particularly memorable reaction, or do you remember the first time you sort of used this tactics and you got a reaction and you go, wow, this is working. This is surprising.
I think for me, the moment I understood how powerful this way of introducing ourselves is was when I was a networking event early in my entrepreneurial career. And whenever you go to a networking event, there are certain people you start speaking to first, i.e., the person who has no one else to speak to. You go to the person who's on their own. But I decided to challenge myself. I said, why not go to a group of people, which I know many people won't. So there's already a group of 5 people there. And so I walked towards this group of 5 people and I said, excuse me, is it okay if I join the conversation? My name is Simon, by the way. And as you can imagine, the first question they asked me, hi, Simon, what do you do? And so what I say to them is I say, well, there are 5 of you here. So I am going to give you 5 guesses. I'll describe what I do without telling you what I do, and I'll give you 5 guesses. So I described what I did, and I went, go. And people started throwing out adjectives: motivational speaker, coach, therapist, counselor, author. And that got everyone speaking. So it got everyone conversing. And that's the moment I realized how powerful that way of introducing ourselves is.
Oh,
Nice.
where were you,
Done.
Simon, when
Done.
I just can't
Yeah.
deal with networking events? I
Yeah.
really can't. I find them
Yes.
so stressful. And my
Ange.
boss, my boss tries to make me, go and meet these people, go to this networking event, sell our company, sell the business. And I'll sit there. To be honest, I don't last long. I'll leave about 15 minutes in and tell my boss that I was there the whole day. And I'll say, I remember being in one in Singapore. I was at the Singapore Aerospace big aerospace thingy.
Sure,
And I remember sitting there in Singapore. I just didn't know what to say at this next. I don't know anything about planes. And I said, nice weather, isn't it? Because it's such a British thing to say. And these Singaporeans just looked at me and said, the weather's always the same in Singapore. and then I said, what do you do? Because I didn't know what else. I said, what do you do? And they're like, oh, we make the 30065272 engine. And I just looked at them and went, great, that's great. And then I left. I literally said to my boss, oh, it was fantastic. I met loads of people. I didn't. I'd left my name card on the counter because you got all these booths. I just left my name card on these booths. And then I legged it out of there as soon as I could and went back to my hotel room.
You did the pretend phone call, didn't you?
I
No,
did.
you
I'm
did.
sorry. I'm sorry. I have to answer this.
Very busy person. Very busy person.
Very busy person.
Well, Ange, here's a tip, especially for you. When you go to network, and the thing is, we don't always like speaking about ourselves, or we don't know how to start a conversation. One trick is get them to talk. Get them to talk, and it makes them feel good. We all have a bit of ego, so that means we all love speaking about ourselves. So what I do is I encourage them to speak. Wow, that's amazing. So do tell me more about that, because the more they tell us, that's data, and that teaches us there's things that we can connect with, mutual interests, mutual passions. That's how I did it at the beginning.
Well, good tips. I need to learn that.
Good tips. Good tips.
Putting it
Simon,
all
I've got a
down,
question
downloading.
for you. Was downloading? Was there one moment in your life that when you really decided to become a coach?
Sure, I think it was. I remember I was going through a number of different ideas. So when I became fed up with my corporate life, I was like, well, I want to try something different. I was testing lots of business ideas, and then my wife said to me, Simon, have you ever thought about coaching? Because you're always interested in helping other people. And I just saw on my Facebook feed, one of those ads that pop up in your feed, that there's a 2-day conference in London, no cost, where you can go and learn about coaching as a profession. And so I went along, and open mind, no expectation. And by the end of that weekend, I walked out thinking, actually, maybe I can make a living from this. Maybe I can build a business around coaching, because if I found it this powerful in just 2 days, imagine if I could use this skill to help others.
Wow. And how when was that? How many years ago was that?
That was probably 2011, 2012. So nearly a decade ago.
Wow, that's amazing. And is there, I mean, I know you give lots and lots of pieces of advice, but do you have a favorite or a common unconventional piece of advice that you often give?
For me, it's that the best advice we can learn is to be discovered in life's greatest paradoxes. So, for example, if we really want to speed up and to access our most creative mind, we have to slow down in order to speed up. In order to truly accomplish our goals, we have to set a goal and then forget about them. Because once we set a goal, we give context to today's actions. But then we don't want to spend our entire time focused rigidly on the goal, which may or may not happen. Because imagine what your emotional well being is. If you say, when I get that promotion, when I win the lottery, when I marry, when I move, when I switch careers, what does that mean you are in the meantime? Sad, depressed, anxious, living as if you're never going to die, and then dying having never really lived. And so once you have the goal, is to put it to one side and to focus on the present moment, to focus on what you can do today. Because if there's anything that COVID has taught us, is that none of us can predict where the world will be a year from now. And so to focus today on what you can do, because the choices you make today determine where you will arrive tomorrow.
Wow, paradoxes. It's that Asian yin yang, perhaps sitting, the opposites that can sit together. Well, it's so interesting. And is there one? I know you've got many client transformational stories, but is there one particular client transformational story that sticks out for you?
Yeah, the one I'm going to share because it also teaches us a couple of lessons. And it's a client that I connected with through email. She found my email on my website. We got speaking for a couple of months. And when she came on board, she was a single parent. She had 2 children. She had just exited her business. And she was a bit lost as to what she wanted to do next. And in the course of about 14 to 15 months, we went from the first meeting, just me understanding about her, what she does and what her aspirations were, to her speaking at the United Nations, publishing 6 books, and now doing a lot of work with foundations across Europe on female empowerment. And the reason I share that is because I think there are 3 lessons that we can extract from that partnership. The first is common amongst the most successful teams, leaders, and organizations is having a vision that is compelling and magnetic in nature. And here's why. Because the bolder the vision we have, the more microscopic the inevitable challenges will feel in comparison. The more microscopic they will feel. And it is that vision, when we know clearly what it is that we are working towards, that awakens our greatest source of energy. The second
You're waiting
is
with
to
bated
realize
breath.
the second is to realize that perception is reality and reality is perception. All we're doing is we're living in the feeling of our thinking moment to moment to moment. And that tells us that there is a superpower we have to choose one thought over another at any given moment. You see, we don't live in one reality. We all live in customized realities. The way you interpret an event will be different to the way I do. And that is what creates our reality, the meaning that we derive from every event and experience that we go through. And that's what I helped her with, is to rewire how she saw her reality, how she saw what had happened to her. Because once we can change that, we change the lenses by which we see the world through. And
Simon.
the third was about
For effect.
environment optimization, how we can elevate the quality of our environment. Because, as James Clear noted in his book Atomic Habits, your environment is the invisible force that shapes your thinking and what you see as possible. So when we elevate our environment, we change the way that our subconscious works. In effect, you create your environment, and then your environment creates you.
Are you talking physical environment, like your office, your fridge, your bathroom, or
Everything,
was this?
everything. So who you spend time with, what you watch, who you listen to, who you follow on social media, watching shows like this, your physical environment, all of that has a profound impact on the operating software of our mind.
Wow, Simon, I mean, obviously we're going to run 4 hours. I hope you've got the rest of the day, because we
Yeah.
need 4 hours.
Yeah.
Just, there's a lot to unpack there, because,
Mm.
speaking at the UN, writing 6 books,
Yeah.
we need to get to that.
We need to
Yeah.
get to that.
We
I
need
just
to get
I just realized that I have to stop watching TikTok. Joking.
I mean, you've already made such an impression with our viewers. We've had Angeline says you still look good even as a grandfather. Kawaii Donna says I could listen to Mr. Simon the whole day. Wow, that's amazing. Angeline says about your advice. So you're clearly already imparting a lot of words of wisdom for us.
Mhm.
And if you have any specific questions, viewers, feel free to pop them in the chat. Simon's got 4 hours for us.
Take advantage. Take advantage. This doesn't come around all the time. It's like Christmas. It comes around once a year. Take advantage of it.
I know I will. I know I will.
Yeah.
Simon's
We've got
like,
a lot
what,
of questions.
what have I signed up for? But Simon, we're just going to give you a little breather, so you don't have to answer questions for now, because this is time where a part of the show where we want you to get up or just get us 2 objects from your travels or your career that you can do a little bit of a show and tell for us. That'd be great.
Perfect. Well, I shared earlier that actually I don't have the stuff that I can show from the travels, because as Ange knows, I'm not someone that purchases a lot of stuff. I'm what people would call a minimalist.
Fellow
So-
minimalist.
Ange.
Fellow minimalist. So instead, what I do have is
Oh, Simon, we can't hear you. Hang on.
You mute
lost
it.
your
You
audio.
mute it. It went mute.
Oh,
There you go.
Oh,
Oh no, it's
someone
not
mute-
working.
no, we're good. You're good now.
I got 2 book recommendations instead of something from my travels.
Okay.
So if it's okay, I'll quickly share
Sure.
what they are.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend you read them, because they have had a profound impact on my business journey. So the first one is called The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann. That's what it looks like.
Go giver.
As you can tell, it is not a very thick book. It is a story. It is a short parable in which there are wisdom contained in the story. One of my favorite type of books, where it's a fictional story with lots of wisdom contained. And if you read anything like me, you'll finish it in one night. So I finished it in one night, and it has had such a profound impact on my business that one of the co-authors became a mentor of mine. And I've had the pleasure of interviewing him many times in groups that I have run. So that's my first recommendation.
Okay.
Do keep in mind, it's one with the red cover. It was so popular, it's now spawned 2 sequels. So it's the
Oh.
original one with the red cover. The second book recommendation is actually two, but it's part of the same because it is volume 1 and volume 2. And this harks back to my origins. It's called The Teachings of Billionaire Yen Zhu. And the author is Colin Turner. And the reason I shared those books is that because it references Eastern culture and it uses stories from Eastern culture and blends them with practical insights and tools for the modern world. And for me, it's powerful. It's one that I can just pick up and open. And there's always something that it teaches me when I just open it up to any page.
Nice,
Wow.
Simon. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Definitely going to go get those books and have a go and see what sort of profound effect it can have on my life, because I need a change for sure. I've been trying to change my wife for the longest time. It's just not working.
Yes.
It's the paradox that you talked about before as well. I should just set the goal and not think about it. It will happen one day. So,
Jen,
Okay.
Sarah.
Doghouse night again for Jen.
Jen, just make sure you got the receipt still.
Well,
So
Simon,
much trouble.
thanks for sharing those books. They're really profound. But you see, the three of us, we're actually very basic people. We just like nose around in people's houses and take a look at the places that people don't normally see. Do you have a corner of shame or any part of your house that nobody gets to see that you will probably
Sure,
allow
let me
us
see
to
if I
take a
can
look
set
at?
it up.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just nosy that way. There's probably a certain
I wanna
kind of
see-
coaching
Fingers
for us.
crossed
Yeah.
on the tech, actually.
I just want to see what a minimalist corner of shame looks like.
Yeah, I
One
do,
crump-
because
one-
I'm an
one
aspiring
crump-
minimalist.
one crumpled piece of paper.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
you
Right.
sent me that?
Yeah,
Yep.
perfect.
Yes.
Okay, great. I can see as well. So let me just show you. I'm going to show you what one of my drawers looks like, actually, because I often get asked about that.
Yes.
Okay.
Finally, a drawer.
Well, first of all,
we've been begging for it.
It's true. It's
here's
true.
the little ones room.
Ooh.
Oh,
tidy.
yeah. Well tidy. Nothing like my kid's room. Doing that. Right, here we
So I
go.
can
Here we
open
go. Yeah.
There we
Here we
go.
go.
This is
Ooh, I might need to put you down first.
Yeah, put us down.
Sure.
I love this nosing around. I really
I love
do.
this. I was like
Yes.
trying to tilt my head. What am I
So here
doing?
you can
I'm
see-
not in control of it.
Oh my
Oh, wow.
goodness.
Wait a second.
Now, when
Why is that
people
so
ask me
organized?
what I wear, just to reassure you, I do wash my black t-shirts.
That
Here's all my backup suppliers.
is
It's okay. It's all different shades of black, but you would like Marie Kondo it. It's like it's so neat.
And
Have you always
here's-
been
here's
like
into
this?
Here we go.
no way. Oh,
Oh my
my
God.
goodness.
Black.
It's Steve Jobs or that
Yeah.
serial killer movie.
Yes, so it's I have 3 suits, 1 tuxedo, 3 white shirts, and I don't have to make a decision of what to wear.
That's
Oh,
it. You're done. You're
Simon,
done.
you are my hero because I am an aspiring minimalist wannabe. I can never quite get there. My cupboard doesn't look like that, but that to me is perfection.
And you can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
the TV unit behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's inside the white drawers.
Wow.
Everything's
Yeah.
Man.
That's organization for you.
I really want to know. You are so organized, a minimalist in terms of what you wear. How often do you go shopping then? When do you like change or replenish your t-shirts or your shirts when they lose their color, or you keep using them until I don't know?
You go window shopping and then, I
Yeah.
like that black shirt.
I tell you what, it's a running joke that for my wife, I'm probably the easiest person to shop for Christmas. It's like, here's another black shirt. Oh,
Thank
so
you.
good. I've got replenishment now.
But
That's-
to be honest with you, I'm the same. I've got a lot of black shirts. I have my minimalist days. Sometimes I wake up like, okay, I just don't want to think about anything, so black shirt. And then I do go into shops going like, I don't think I have that black shirt. I really do. It's like pathetic. It's like what? Of all the clothes here, it's just that black shirt.
Yeah,
I
that's
tell you
that's me
what
with
though,
yeah.
yeah, I was just
Go.
gonna say, with the black t-shirts, it means that I can go loud on the suit. So the tuxedo I have is sort of like stylized
Ah.
pattern. I have like a red one because being Chinese, red is a lucky color, and so it's a pattern tuxedo. And so when I do go on these dinner parties or event nights, then I wear something I wouldn't normally wear. It's like a nice way to be loud at a time that doesn't happen that often.
Mm,
Oh, that's
I
see, I'm very, very
see.
inspired by that. I'm gonna revamp my wardrobe tomorrow on my birthday as a birthday treat to myself. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cancel
Cla-
my plans. Bye.
classic white shirt, but pink suit.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
Got
there
it.
you
Got
go.
it. Gets
I
the
really like that.
attention.
I do definitely. And Simon, we know you have a book coming out called Energize. Could you tell us a little bit about it and perhaps offer a useful tip from the book for our viewers?
Definitely. So the way the book came about is I got I started a conversation with Penguin, which are one of, if not the world's top publishing house. And we were thinking about what I could write about because, when you do the work I do, there's so many things you can talk about, so many different topics. And I remember there was times when I would walk down after speaking on stage and I would have audience members coming up to me and saying, Simon, I love your energy. If I could have just a small percentage of your energy, I could accomplish so much. And I started to reflect, well, how did I get to a state where I'm always energized and I feel so much excitement about life, waking up each morning to the smell of possibilities rather than the smell of caffeine. And that's that's when I came up with the idea for Energize. How do we awaken these greatest sources of energy? How do we nurture it, protect it, and channel it in a way that we are in beautiful flow, which is kind of what everyone is seeking. We want to live life in flow in which we have something that we're striving for, but we're also happy in the now. And that is a very difficult balance to get. But it's sharing how I, in some way, have got to that point where I can enjoy more of those moments. And so that's how the book came about. In terms of one lesson, I think it would be this. It's a very simple idea, but we forget that the gateway drug to abundance and to happiness is gratitude. Is gratitude. And as the Americans are celebrating their Thanksgiving, it's to remind ourselves of the things that we can be grateful for. And if there's one exercise I can leave you with that will immediately elevate your mood and your energy, it is this. Take a moment to write down the name of one person that you can be truly grateful for. It could be a partner, a friend, a colleague, a loved one. Step number 2, write down in as much detail why you chose that person. Be specific. The more specific, the better. What was it that they did? What would life be without them? And the third step is to arrange a time to meet or to have a call. So you can read out word for word what you wrote while they are
Oh,
listening intentionally. Now, this
Wow.
is something that Dr. Martin Seligman first spoke about, and he's known as I guess, the founding father of positive psychology, is that today we express gratitude so superficially. It's sunny today. I'm alive. We kind of just brush these things over and we just write down the same things all the time. But imagine how you will feel when you begin to express gratitude more intentionally.
oh, that's lovely. And do you have anything in the book? We have Angeline who says, I'm always procrastinating and I have a hard time sticking to my goals. I'm sure that this is a very popular question that you must get asked
Yeah,
because
yeah.
motivation, procrastination, I'm sure is up there. Do you have anything either from the book or just from your other teaching and coaching that could help Angeline as she's watching this?
Sure. Well, Angeline, first of all, I would say that procrastination is not an issue. The issue is you perhaps don't have clarity on what it is that you want to do, that you want to strive towards. And here's why. Because if one of my friends said to me, Simon, I'm procrastinating on this work that I need to do, then the issue is not the procrastination. The issue is the work itself. Because if I said to them that the next season of their favorite Netflix show is dropping tonight, they're not going to procrastinate about not watching it. They're going to watch it. And so it's not the issue of procrastination. It's the issue of understanding what you're working towards, getting clearer on what it is, what it would mean to you. What would be possible if you were to actually be living that dream that you have in your mind? That is there, and it's there for a reason. Spend time to understand, how do I want to be remembered? What is the sort of impact I want to have on people's lives around me? Immerse yourself in inspiration, and everything will follow from there. Because you can't inspire anyone else. You can't do the things you want to do unless you yourself feel inspired. And so I think it's more to do with the work. It's more to do with the task. How can you make it more fun? How can you be clearer about its importance to you? Because when something matters, truly matters to you, you always, always make time for it.
Oh,
Man.
you've got some of the viewers literally. They said they're literally crying right now. You've moved them that much. Thank you for that. That's a really good way of reframing it, actually, because I never thought about it that way. I always thought it's laziness.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
about. It makes so much sense. I mean, it's obvious that you're clearly motivated. You're super smart. But unfortunately, you're in dear future grandkids, and we really do not care about those skills that you
Yeah.
have. What we want to know is the other side of things. It's like, do you have a pointless skill?
I've got quite
Because
a
we know
few,
on the other
actually.
side, you're well taken care of. Definitely.
Yeah, I think you're kind of okay.
Yeah,
So,
you're kind of okay, man. You're kind of okay.
let's take it down a notch and go to
Yeah.
our level.
Yeah, come to our side. Come to our side. Meet us
down
halfway.
Meet us halfway.
Yeah, I bet you now your pointless skill is still gonna be bloody great.
I
Go on
tell
then.
you what, I've got a lot of pointless skills, but the two that come to mind, one is when I was a teenager, my brother and I spent 2 to 3 years understanding close-up magic. So that's a pointless skill
No.
now because I don't practice it anymore, but I use it sometimes at events that I speak at if it complements something that I'm speaking about. And the second one is accents. You know, when I travel, I can't speak any other language apart from English. But when I travel, I seem to pick up the accents of people, and it's a useless skill because the only purpose it has is if I was ever to be recruited for a role to basically speak in an accent of someone who's not English.
Well, if anyone's out there looking for what do you do? French, Singapore, and what do you do?
Anything.
Well, the ones
Any
I've done
country
in the
you've been
past
to.
is, yeah, French, Singaporean, German, Scottish. Scottish is one people here know more because obviously Scotland's just north of us here. And so when I was up in Edinburgh a couple of years ago, I tried to mimic it because when you go up there, it's like, oh, welcome to Scotland. You know, it's a bit wee north up here. It's a lot colder than down in London. And so the accent changes substantially. But if you look at the different countries, you notice certain things they have in their expression. So the French, they won't pause, but they will draw out a word to connect sentences. So it would be something like this. Well, you know, it's been a bit troubling with speaking the English. You know, it's not like they understand us. So they use the to sort of drag out the sentences as sort of fillers.
But
Nice.
I'm not.
Okay.
It comes across pointless, but I have a feeling it's gonna pay it out for you at some stage in your life.
It connects. Yeah, when you're
Connects.
there. Yeah.
No, this is the thing about Simon. First, he's our only guest who gives us not just one but two pointless skills, right? And he's our only guest that can actually analyze their pointless skill to the point of it being, actually useful.
Pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's no
Yeah.
longer pointless, isn't it?
Yeah, it's degrees of pointlessness, so then it turns
Yes.
full circle and sort of
Yeah, it's
becomes
like
useful
he
at
can.
the end.
Yeah, it's like
How
yes.
disappointing, Simon. Oh,
Yes.
You
one
just,
job.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fail.
You you
Such a
failed. You
disappointment.
failed the pointless skill. You failed
Yeah.
it. Failed it.
Oh,
You're
you
able to
need to
turn it
work.
around to something useful.
Yeah.
Ah.
You need to work harder, Simon.
Try harder.
I tell you
Stop
what,
Try harder.
succeeding. Blah blah
Stop
blah.
succeeding.
it definitely helps when you're traveling. I remember when I was in Berlin and the sort of cleaner came in and we're like, we can't have her in. So I had to whack out a sort of quick German, like, kommen Sie bitte in 2 Uhr bitte, Dankeschön, and just send her on her way. And that was quite funny because she thought I could actually speak German there. But I
Oh,
just used
wow.
Oh, we lost you. There.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Have we lost Simon again? Have we lost his audio?
I think the audio again.
Oh, you got on mute
Uh,
again, Simon.
Yeah, I think it's a connection.
It's the Simon, clearly it's the accent. The
No.
internet gods have put you on mute. They're like, no more of
Internet
that
jail.
bad Scottish.
Yeah.
No more of that bad Scottish accent, please. No more of that.
They go. He's starting the accent. Mute him. Mute
Yeah.
him.
Actually, Ian Pennick, who's also one of our regular viewers, hello Ian, said you sounded more Geordie than Scottish. I wouldn't know.
Well, it seems like we might have something in common there. Maybe we should sit together over coffee and analyze accents.
That's right. That's right. But before we do that, Simon, what we want you to do now is grab your phone and leave a voice message for someone important in your life. And you don't have to tell us who it is, but we want to hear the message.
No worries.
So are you gonna
Okay, let me just-
the tip that you gave, is it one of your gratitude ones, or I'm interested to find out what are you gonna do, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, so this one is going to be like a gratitude one. I mean, there's lots of people I can be grateful for, but I think I'll drop it to this person. He probably already knows how grateful I am, given how often I express this stuff. But it doesn't hurt to have another one here. One second, let me just set it up.
Oh.
Okay, I'm just going to hold my thumb on the record.
Go for it.
I'm going to mention his name so that you can hear it as well. So,
Sure.
Mark, hope all is well and things are good down under in Australia. I'm just on a show at the moment called Dear Future Grandkids. And I've been asked to leave a message to someone who has had an influential impact on my life to date. And you were one of the first people that popped up in my mind. You may recall we met at a mutual friend's birthday in West London, and you invited me to join a mastermind group. Who would have known that would have been one of the catalysts to what I now get to do today? The people you introduced me to, the insights into business have been profound in helping me to who I am today and shaping my thinking. Look forward to catching up soon. Let me know how things are, and let's touch base hopefully before the end of the year. See you soon, Simon. Bye.
Wow.
Wow.
Done.
Done.
He's
So
probably,
that
it's
was-
probably, I don't know what time is it in Australia. He's probably sitting there going, what's going on?
What's going on?
What's
you know how
happened to Simon?
everybody
pub,
starts their
yeah.
voice message like, "Hi, I'm here on the show, and they're making me do this." It's like proof of life. Like I've got somebody pointing a gun at me. I say this,
I have to do this.
yeah, I've been
Therefore I
kidnapped.
am.
Please deliver $1,000 to blah blah blah.
Yeah, Mark has got two things going on in his head right now. One, you have been kidnapped, or two, you're completely drunk.
Yes, because
Well, at least not a
Saturday
message from
night.
Lee Neeson.
No,
There
yeah,
you go.
no, yeah. Because you will find him.
You'll find him. Simon, now let's talk about your family. Can you tell us about them? Do you have a family memory that somehow pointed the way to your future career?
it's interesting because I think it was probably less the family thing that pointed me to my career than my life experiences. And I'll share with you why. Because when I grew up, I was born here in the United Kingdom. And there's two things I share about being a Chinese growing up in the UK. One is a positive, one maybe not so much. The one positive is I grew up during a time in which Bruce Lee films were all the rage here in UK. Everyone was watching Bruce Lee films, and so that meant being one of just a handful of Chinese in a school that was predominantly white meant that no one wanted to bully me because they imagine that this Chinese student could whack out kung fu at any moment, and so that's the one positive of growing up as a Chinese here in the UK. However,
Did you have the
the
haircut?
one
It must be the haircut,
I
huh?
I tell you what, I didn't when I was young, and maybe you can't imagine it now, but I actually had gelled up hair. I had long hair.
Ooh.
Now, then I decided to cut it. And then a rumor went around that I spent the summer in the Shaolin monastery. And I tell you what, since then, I've never looked back. Since then, I've never looked back. I've just kept it since then. And it's evolved from Simon spent the summer in the Shaolin monastery to when I went to university, Simon works for the triads. So I kind of elevated myself to triad level.
You are a legend. You are a legend in your schools.
Indeed, indeed. But the one drawback was growing up as a Chinese, I believed, and it was also influenced from the family, that success was defined by my job title.
Mm.
Be a banker, be a doctor, be a
Yeah.
lawyer, be an accountant. And so when I look back at a moment that shaped me to who I am today, weirdly enough, it's the global financial crisis. Because who knows, without the global financial crisis, I would not be doing what I do today. Maybe I wouldn't even be here on this show. But because of the global financial crisis, I went to my dad and family. I'm not sure this finance thing is working out. It's a very unstable industry, and maybe I should start looking at my other options. And that's what led me along, I think, the longest journey we make as humans, the inches from our heads to our hearts. Because for so long, I believed success was defined by these narrow terms. But by making this journey from our head to our hearts, it got me questioning, what is success for me personally? And what did fulfillment look like? And the challenge was to then design my life around those answers. And that's what I set about doing from that moment. And it's how I transition from the corporate world to the great work I now get to do today.
Amazing. Amazing. That's a really interesting way of seeing things. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I've always convinced myself, and I think a lot of people have been doing that when you read a lot of these books, that anything bad that happens, there's a silver lining, that sort of thing. It's easier said than believed. But most often than not, when you look back at your life, it proves true
Mm.
that these setbacks did open doors for you or forced you to take a left turn or a right turn that you wouldn't have taken.
Totally. I mean, for those listening, I mean, just reflect back to some of your own challenges, some of your own obstacles, or even darkest moments. And what we tend to discover is that they more often than not become your pivotal moments. They thrust you into a completely new story that you can never look back from and equip you with the wisdom and insight to create the most beautiful moments of your life. Whether for me, it's starting in the financial industry at the worst possible time, or losing my mum at the age of 19, or failing a year of university, all of these moments have served to teach me things I would not have learned otherwise. But it is up to us to travel away from ego and towards humility to be open to receiving those universal lessons.
Wow. Okay. Yep. I'm rewatching this show. All right. Now, Simon, I'm curious. We spoke about your family, and this question goes both for your family and your friends. At family reunions or at parties, do people always come to you for life advice?
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't think they don't come to me as much for life advice as they say, Simon, take the mic, go up on stage and give us a talk. So I think that's
What?
Wow.
what I often get asked. So, when it's at a family gathering or Simon, can you give us a quick chat about what you've been up to and what you're doing? And I think it's because a lot of my family have worked in a company. And so when you work in a company, there's only so much you can talk about. But when you're traveling, when you're speaking to audiences, when you're doing really interesting things, when I've got a book coming out, I'll be doing TV and radio interviews. You get to meet some very fascinating people. And so, of course, people want to know what it's like. They want to know what you've learned. And so that's what tends to happen. It's Simon, here's the mic. Can you give us a talk? Can you share what you've been up to? What have you been doing? Show us some videos. As for the advice, I think they probably get enough from my social media content
Yeah.
No
And from
more
this show,
advice.
and from this
and
episode,
this
this
show.
episode. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's such a Chinese family thingy to go. You know what? He's a life coach. Let's get a freebie out of him. Here's the mic. Go talk. Go talk. See?
Well, well, at least it's better than, and this is a true thing because I've got a sister who's a doctor and she doesn't complain about this, but I always observe that at family reunions, people just go up to her like, I
Oh
have this back of
no.
mine, it hurts. It's like, no longer, how are you? I actually feel I have a headache and all that. COVID. It's always some disease. Like, so I thought it
I
was
do
going to be
tell
like
you,
that for
actually,
you.
there's one trick. So people ask me, well, what if I have people in my circle that are negative, that tend to bring the energy down in the room? And I say, well, here's a little tip that you can do next time. If you know someone, when you ask them, how are things? And they tend to focus on the negative or complain, switch your question to what has gone well for you since we last spoke? What has
Oh,
gone well for
great
you?
question.
Oh.
Because what you're doing here is you are assuming and presupposing that there are positive things. So you've already focused their mind on what has gone well. And so they might say, oh, I called my parents for the first time in months, or I was finally able to travel. And notice how much happier, more positive
Mm.
they're feeling just because you've changed your question.
That's
Wow.
We're
an
gonna we're gonna
excellent point.
pause because I have to take notes, guys. So just
That that is that is excellent. Excellent.
it's so
Um,
that's brilliant.
So,
That's
Simon, we're
brilliant.
gonna still stick with family. And earlier on the show that you mentioned, there was the point where you and your wife decided to have a kid, and you have a kid. You have a beautiful daughter. Has
Hmm.
she taught you anything? Has she given you any lessons, or just being around her and observing? Anything that you can
Yeah.
share?
Apart from the fact that I'll no longer have a schedule of my own,
Oh,
the the one thing that she has taught me is the value of patience. The value of patience,
oh,
because I think we're living in a world now in which we've never been so connected, in which we've never had the sheer amount of distractions that we have today. And she teaches me the importance of disconnecting, switching off, and just being patient, because babies don't learn things overnight. It's a process. And that's the biggest thing she's taught me. Be patient with the process and enjoy the moment, because that is what life is full of. Life is made of moments. And if we can enjoy and be present in as many moments as possible, we create a life that we will look back on with great fondness.
oh,
Oh,
that
And
is
we're
that
just
is
soaking that in.
that is lovely, Simon. And you talk about moments and learning that from your daughter. So all we want to say is thank you for spending this time with us, this moment. We're really happy to have you. We've learned so much. I'm truly inspired, but unfortunately, we have to close the show. and close the lid on what we call a video time capsule for you. Perhaps in the future, your daughter can watch this back, and so you get to leave a message. What do you want to say to your future grandkids?
Sure. I think it'll be three quick tips to my future grandkids. The first would be listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. It is full of wisdom if we give it the space to be heard. And that is why it is important to go inward. Listen to your heart because it may not always lead you to where you want to be, but it will always lead you to where you need to be. The second is revel in the magic of your uniqueness. You may not understand it now, but your being different is important to this world. It is what in time will make you stand out and attract to you the people that resonate with your talents, your skills, and your gifts. So revel in the magic of your uniqueness. We were born to be different. And one of our greatest journeys is to discover what that difference is. And the third is you are a miracle. The fact that you were born is an absolute miracle. You have already won the greatest lottery ticket there is going, the lottery of life. The question is, what are you going to do with it? And that is something I hope you will make use of.
Wow. Wow, that's such.
Wow.
I mean, your first advice, listen to your heart, Simon. It's. I find myself doubting all the time, whether you
Mm,
call it gut or whether you call it heart or what, your
Mm.
physical sensation. I find myself always double guessing, second, questioning it. I don't trust it. I actually don't trust my
mm.
heart. I just don't. So,
But
um,
Ange,
hmm,
interesting sort of follow up. When you have, what has happened?
hmm. You know that it's actually you're right. I'm thinking of three key things. I once quit completely on the spot. I once
Mhm.
Mm,
decided to split with someone, and we were talking
Mhm.
about getting married and everything.
mm,
Um, and y- you know, and I once decided to pick up the phone when my two friends, Jen and Percy, and I told them I was so busy and I didn't have time. And that it sounds great. They're doing a show, sounds wonderful, but I just didn't have time, guys. And have fun. And who had three hosts
mm.
on a show? Who would be? What kind of live stream show would be silly enough to have three hosts? It made no sense at all. And you're right. Every single one of them, you're completely right. I have no regrets at all. Great decision. I mean, I don't know how it would have played out. Here I am second guessing. I don't know how it would have played out. I don't know,
And
but
that's
you're
the
right.
thing. If we look at different cultures around the world, the Chinese call it qi, the Maori culture they call it mana, in yoga they call it prana. Whatever you call it, we're referring to the same thing, which is this universal life force of energy. And whether it's energy, gut, intuition, or wisdom, we all have it, and it's a compass that helps to guide us. And it's why people recommend meditation, because
Mm.
when we meditate, we actually, it's like pulling up a chair and sitting opposite your true self and simply having a conversation with your true self. And that person becomes your trusted spiritual guide.
Wow. Well, you know
Mm,
what, Simon, I love what you said, that your heart might not always lead you to what you want, but it will lead you to what you need to be
mm,
doing or where you need to be. And I think that has really been proven true, at least for my life. And there's a lot of things, seriously, I will rewatch the show because there's a lot of things you said that somewhere, somehow I read, or somewhere, somehow someone told me, but you kind of need to keep remembering these things, or kind of need to be kept told, to be grateful.
Yeah.
mm,
That even that simple thing of being grateful, like truly grateful, not the token grateful, like thank you, just saying it as an aside. But
totally.
you forget it, right? It's easy to forget,
Mm,
especially in this very busy, very jaded world that we're in. So it's important to hear these things said, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be our guest today and saying all of these things. So I'm sure the viewers also want to get in touch with you. How can they get in touch with you?
Sure. So I have presence on the major social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. But the best way to get in touch is, if you have any questions, you want to connect, is LinkedIn. Just search Simon Alexander Ong, or Instagram, where my handle is at Simon Alexander O. And if you want to hear more about the thoughts that I share, I send out a regular newsletter over on my website, simonalexanderong.com. And that's where you can hear from me on a regular basis.
Wow.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well, just to show how the viewers appreciate you, Ian, who's watching now, he says, "You've certainly cheered me up today, Simon, and all of you guys at your future grandkids." There you go. After a pretty stormy night here in England, here in Northeast England. So there you go. And Angeline says, "Thank you for your advice. That is so true. Being clear about what you want to focus on can give me direction. Very sound advice. Thank you very
Mm.
much." And Kawai Don is already following you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that support. And just on that clarity, when we spoke about heart earlier, keep in mind that often we already know what that next step is. We just have to find the courage to take it.
Simon,
Nice.
thank you so much. There's just so much to really absorb today. And like Percy said, this is a show definitely that we will rewatch. And you said about gratitude as well. We're really thankful that you've been on the show today. And also just gratitude for my friends Percy, and of course for Ange as well. And it's not just about saying that, because she's really special to me, and it's her birthday tomorrow. So we just want
Yes.
everyone to know, okay, wish her a happy birthday.
Oh, thanks,
She,
guys.
she's got the best heart, and if you're in her life, it's in for life. And
Oh,
she'll fight
Yeah.
fires for you. That's the person she is. So Ange, we love you. Happy early birthday, Simon. Thank you so much.
thanks,
We've,
guys.
Happy
we've learned so
birthday,
much as
Ange.
well.
thank you,
And
everyone.
thank you to all of you watching Dear Future Grandkids. And we can't do this without you. Thank you so much. And once again, take care. And we'll see you the next time. Bye. Thanks, Simon. Bye, everyone. See ya.
Thanks,
Simon.
Simon.
Birthday, Ange.
Happy
Thanks.
birthday, Ange. We love you.
Thank you.